and it is a fact. But there is a very difficult question. Can we say that Mujahideen in Afghanistan was just a puppet to Americans?
No, of course. But at the same time, like if Americans wouldn't give them this money, ammunition, help, and so on, this war would be just different.
We do not know this because now Americans sell.
It's not only America, it was also China, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and so on.
It means methinks it means no sense because now United States and their allies themselves fought against Taliban in Afghanistan, and neither China nor Russia or something or another country give to Taliban money and supplies and so on, and they cannot win this war during 10 years.
This is just these nations, so you don't know exactly the cause.
Precisely. We cannot answer on this question.
Osama bin Laden was a creature of CIA.
Maybe. But the main is that the CIA want not to begin the terrorist attack on September 9/11. It wasn't the goal of CIA.
But I think we can collect such kind your examples, for example, in two words. So it's Muslim world, maybe, yeah? So you can collect this point. Muslim world against, for example, non-Muslim words. Is it possible or not?
No. In this book, what I was speaking also by Gunnar Heinzen, Zone and Weltmacht, Sons and Superpowers. He described, as I have already said, 67 countries, and the majority of them are parts of Muslim world, 42, but other 25 are Christianic and Buddhist countries. For example, Ceylon, Myanmar, Nepal, and so on. So there isn't a strong interconnection between religion and terrorism.
Are you satisfied?
Well, sure, yeah. I could ask more questions.
Are you satisfied?
I have a question.
Nikolai, please.
I'd like to ask you about your opinion on the thesis of Hannah Arendt. You said some words about this philosopher. She was a Jewish woman. She remembered exactly what was the totalitarianism, what was the Second World War, and everything bad things connects with this period of in history of the world. And but despite of this experience, Hannah Arendt writes a lot of books. Maybe for this, maybe not despite, maybe for this, thanks to this experience. Among others, the origin of totalitarianism, the violence. The origin of totalitarianism is absolutely, for me, in personal, it is the absolute example of the example, the books in which Hannah Arendt criticizes the system of totalitarianism. But in this one hand of the it is on the one hand it is example of one view of Hannah Arendt of this issue. But on the other hand, in the violence, in some chapters, she writes that the violence is an example of our emotion. It could be also the part of our behavior. And under some conditions, Arendt writes that the violence are justified. Because violence inspired by short-term goals, as I can read in this book, can be rational, can be part of our world. Because Arendt says also that our world is world without emotion is not real world. It is the main thesis of Hannah Arendt in this, maybe not the one of the, one of the most important theses. And I'd like to know how's your opinion about these things, about the violence in, let's say, in rational way. Rational way.
Because she was a philosopher, not a scientist in the
Philosophy.
Well, patrząc z jakiejś strony.
But I'd like only, maybe if somebody can also.
No, I have understood it.
I'd like also only know your opinion, because it is very interesting that we don't forget that the violence is not simple structure, not the institution, not simple institution. Not maybe this institution has. I'm thinking now, but maybe this institution has, some positives.
Well, of course, violence is an important part of our world, of our lives, lifeways. And another philosopher, Theodor Adorno, in his work, described that there are some kinds of persons, authoritarian persons, which use power and violence to rule other people, and even more, not only philosophers in the mid of 20th century, but in the end of 20th century, anthropologists pointed out in their works that in simple societies, in small groups of humans, where each new person the other, we cannot use the violence. Maybe because it's psychologically impossible, maybe there are another conditions, but anthropologists found that in simple societies, in small groups, estimate 10, 20 people, no more than 25, usually there are no violence. And when the society grows, the size of society grows, appears of violence, precisely. But when society is small, not so big like contemporary societies, but for example is a tribe. Consists of, for example, 1,000 people or something like that. So the violence arises, but it's used usually in to achieve the sacred to achieve the spiritual goals. For example, to communicate with the gods, use the body of victim, for example, or
in ancient ages.
yeah. So, and when we analyze bigger society includes many thousands, many hundreds of thousands of people. So then the violence became that feature which we knew.
Big societies consist of small groups. Maybe.
The violence on the level of losing. Of course, in these small groups, there are no homicides, no victimizations, and so on. Usually. Well, for example, in families. But when you speak about the family, usually the father didn't kill his children, but he can kill for example, if he is a judge, the children of another man from another village, and it isn't common. Yes. So.
Thank you. Questions? I'd like to call Dr. Georgi Pradeda because he told me about situation in Sofia, and everyday demonstration now happened in Sofia. Is there a possibility for violation on Sofia streets? What's the nature and the connection between what happens in the National Caucasus?
No, the most important things in this which is happening in Sofia is that there is no any kind of violence. Everything goes let's say funny and
About 20,000
yes, they
people
are
every day.
from about 32 days on the streets every evening after work, and it's going to be something like summer school of democracy in Sofia. And I think that the government will keep this way, not this way to work with the demonstrants. This way peace on the street. I have two questions about this violence. They are a little connected with these questions of Rustem. The first question is that I heard for a few different types of identities in this area, North Caucasus, and do they affect on the types of violence? Can we search for relations between identities of different how to say, regions, countries. Countries is not the word, and the types of violence which they use. And the second one questions is it possible to look at North Caucasus like in like for melting pot?
Like what?
Melting pot. This condition of society which can give a new nation.
Мобильный котел.
Yes, this is one island in harbor of New York. I can't remember its name now. And all boats from Europe start there, and the people to enter in United States, they have new identities. and this they American theory called melting pot, of how from Europe came different nations, different peoples, and in America, in this melting pot, they going one nation, going to be one nation.
Well, yes, the question is clear. So, of course, there is North Caucasian identity to each person who lives there. They understand that they are Caucasian. But the more, the stronger identity than the regional is the ethnical identity and religious. Now we can say that the majority of the people who are Muslims in North Caucasus are split into communities. The so-called Salafi or Wahhabi community, it's small, an estimate 5, maybe 10% of all Muslim population, and the traditional Muslim community or Hanafi community, Sufi community, and so on. And the identity in this community is more important for the people than identity to the region. When he left the region for many years and live elsewhere in Russia or abroad, they remember who they are, which nationality and which part of religion community, which tariqah. And this is more important to them than the region identity. And so I think that probability of rising the North Caucasian nation, it's something impossible.
And it's also one thing is they distinguish between the families, the tapes, for example, in Chechnya.
Not so strong.
Not so strong.
Already not so strong, but it's still.
But it's still the tradition, actually.
Yes.
And even during the war, these different tapes were on different sides, mostly, or not. As far as I remember that different tapes were on the side of, for example, Basayev, or on the federal side.
During the First World War, it was so, in 1994, 1996. And the Second War, 1999, 2008, was civil war from the Chechen point of view. Because almost in each tape, the warriors on both sides.
Are you satisfied with the Thank you for the answer. I have a question to you. Could you show us the last tables? You did comparison between situation on Northern Caucasus and Sendero Luminosa and Tamil Tigers. But it would be better if you use in this table, for example, information about situation in Syria from the left and Egypt from the right. Well, so use not 30, 40 long stories, just more current, more modern, and it will give you this. There's the first question. So more accurate
it isn't.
Or you can.
It isn't a question. It is more than advice. And I will. I have used these examples because they are collaborated. There are many publications about them. arising, their development, and why they are failing. And what now transpired in Syria, for example, of course is actual, but we don't know what it will be. And here we can compare. So was here, and what will be in our country. So I think so it will be more useful to compare the examples of such development and failed movements, because we do not even know will this Islamist movement in Syria failed or not. Maybe they will crush Bashar Assad and win the struggle. And what then? Maybe.
There's another question about previous table. Please show us previous table. Yeah. For example, what this? You showed us increasing violence in Dagestan and decreasing in Chechnya and Ingushetia. So we know how much money the central government put in Chechnya and Ingushetia. How much money we should put to Dagestan, for example, to stop it? Or
Well,
it's not correct to formulate like this.
No. The formulation is precisely correct, because, but the answer is another. We can suppose that precisely the money of federal government in Dagestan are interconnected with this arising, because many of Salafi leaders are the agents of officials or the high officer of security forces. For example, one of the famous Dagestan insurgents, Gajimurat Gajipedaev, was also
Major of Mangashkar.
No. He was a leader of one of Jamaat in Buynaksk area, and he was also an agent of Federal Security Service. And after he was killed, the journalists of some Dagestani media find the documents that he was an agent. And what about Mayor of Makhachkala? We also now knew that he was he has a connection with Salafis. So maybe the rise of violence in Dagestan is a consequence of more and more of this money which federal government gives to the local authorities. And part of this money through such connections came to the Salafi leaders. And contemporary presidents of Dagestan try to stop this financial river.
But how much money they get from Qatar, from
In Dagestan,
Saudi Arabia?
almost nothing. Almost nothing. We can we can say it not only according to the official official point of view from the FSB, from Ministry of Interior Affairs. They usually said that now we almost destroy the financial traffic from abroad to the North Caucasus. But also we can estimate this because the operations which made by terrorists are local. Almost all of them are local. I mean, if the insurgent group is from one area, it never attack the neighbor area. Or, for example, if the terrorists are from Buynaks, they will not attack on civilians in Makhachkala and so on, vice versa. They haven't money, ammunition, and other supplies to do this. They cannot make something like did Basayev in 1994, 1995, for example. The last biggest terrorist attack was in 2004-2005 in Nazran, Beslan, Grozny, and in 2005 in Nalchik. And after that, 8 years, only local attacks.
Questions, probably comments.
Maybe one more comment. Maybe it's good to show also the developing of population. I mean youth in percentage. Maybe some kind of table in different these regions. How many young people are in these regions right now? You said to compare because you're saying
Predict and to compare.
Yeah.
predict and to compare. And the same thing about the financial aid of our federal center to this region. So also it could be also interesting and maybe revealing some tendencies.
About demographic problems, I can tell you, for example, the story. When I traveled last time from Kazan to Moscow, in my coupe appeared some guy, master student from Kazan Technical University. And he told the story about his uncle who has 3 wives in Iraq and 23 boys. 23 kids. So it's the family characteristics to that region. How about Caucasus? How about Northern Caucasus? Probably this demographic situation is.
Well, of course, the families are bigger than in other regions of Russia, but not so big. Well, the census data show us that the families consist from 4.5 children per each family.
How much?
4.5. For example, in Chechnya. In Dagestan is 3.9. Well, it's bigger than, for example, in the Moscow region or in the Voronezh region, but not so big like in Iraq.
Okay, thank you. More questions? If not, so we will go to another presentation.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Pavel,
5 minutes break. 5 minutes break, please.
okay.
Thank you.